and you get rattled a little bit. That's the kind of stuff that happens.
I love it. I'm really blessed to be able to coach these guys, and they just keep finding a way to fight back, and it doesn't matter how much is. We talked about this a couple of days ago. We talked about, everybody has feelings, and feelings are important, but so what? We're going to go do our job. We're going to go be
sitting here. I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice. Listen, we're talking about practice. Not a game. We're talking about practice.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
One of the most famous sound bites in the history of basketball in the NBA, Allen Iverson talking about practice. It is so apropos. Allen, you were a superstar. What Kentucky did doesn't pertain to you. Now, maybe it did for you as you drove Larry Brown from my hometown in Long Beach nuts, which you did. But what you could do and what this Kentucky team needs are two different things. So in this case, Allen, you're wrong. Good afternoon. I'm Alan Cutler. Honored and pleased to be with you. Thank you for joining us. Yes, it is just lovely, the lineup we have for today. Ben Oldham, a late ad, one of the great football officials ever, will be joining us at 12:20 for just a couple minutes, just talking about refereeing in general and his just thoughts, not only as a Kentucky fan, but how Doug Shows handled himself or didn't. Chip Rupp, country music star J.D. Shelburne, UK baseball Nick Mangione. Can you believe it's a little over a week and baseball for real is here? So fun lineup, fun lineup to the game. Now, if I could visualize the people listening anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world, and those of you who might be listening tonight on podcast or tomorrow morning, and I would see a show of hands. And Jimmy, I know you're going to agree with me, but if I would look out across the vast ocean of people and say, would you raise your hand? And by the way, I'm not being mean, I promise you. But if you think Kentucky's going to win every single game, you can't vote. And not being disrespectful. If that's how you feel, God bless, more power to you. You can't be part of this game because you're not real when it comes to what I'm about to say. You're real, and that's your opinion, and it's all good. Not with this exercise. So if I'm peering across the universe of Kentucky fans and ask you to raise your hand, one, if you thought UK would win. Okay? Jimmy, I don't know if you're visualizing right now, but I see a few, just a few, a very small percentage. Deep down, I don't think it's 5%. I don't think it's close to 5%. And again, no disrespect to anyone out there who says Kentucky's going to win all the time. I always root for Kentucky. I always expect them to win. God bless you. I mean it. But you can't play this game because you're not objective when it comes to this little exercise. Jimmy, would you guess without knowing it'd be under 5%?
For Kentucky fans that thought they would win?
Yes.
No, I'd put it closer to 15, maybe 20%.
Wow. Okay, so unscientific, and it's good that we disagree every now and then. Now here's number two. Okay, Jimmy, I want you to visualize. Close your eyes and visualize people all across the country. We have people in a lot of different states that you wouldn't expect listening, partly because they're Kentucky fans everywhere, as you know. Appreciate everybody listening. Okay, Jimmy, close your eyes and now look at the same large group of people. And I asked this question. How many of you thought Kentucky was going to get blown out? Please raise your hand and be honest. Jimmy, where's my hand?
Up.
Yep. Where's yours? You up or down?
I was more on the side that they were going to get blown out.
Well, you're either yes or no. Get off the damn fence.
My hand's up.
Jimmy's hand is up. I love it when you're not wishy-washy. And you're never wishy-washy. What are you starting now in the fourth year? You've been so good about being no filter. Okay. So, Jimmy, I'm teasing Jimmy. Jimmy knows that. I hope the audience, somebody listening the first time, I can see her say, that Cutler's really mean to that Jimmy. Am I mean to you?
No.
Should I try?
You can. Sure.
You know, I've never been mean to you once on purpose. Not once. Wouldn't do it. Are you kidding? I'm lucky to have you as a producer. Producer/mouth. Well, that's a good title. You want to tell your wife when you get home that Cutler said I'm a producer/mouth?
Add it to the resume.
Would it make a cool T-shirt?
I'll get on the all of our interns we have to get on the T-shirt game.
Well, there you go. All good. Okay, so I really believe if you're holding up your hands, now you are not gonna agree with this, Jimmy. Not gonna agree with this. I think 75% of the UK fans were really concerned, and I think it's low, about Kentucky getting blown out. What happened against Vanderbilt, and because they once again fell asleep in the first half. What would you say?
Can you repeat that again? Sorry, I had feedback in my ear.
Oh, I got you. I heard something too. Okay, so now look at the same crowd.
Yeah.
Okay, and just being, everybody's got to be honest because this is difficult, and I get it, but just admit it, get it off your chest. I think at least 75% of the people that thought Kentucky was going to lose were seriously concerned about Kentucky getting blown out because of what happened to Vandy just a few days before that. What would you say?
Yeah, I agree. I think the people that thought Kentucky was going to lose, I don't think anyone thought it was going to be a close loss. If they lost, it was going to be a blowout.
So here's what I say all the time, and you've heard me say this 50 times. I mean, you tell me. Every game is a chapter, and every game is a chapter in a book, and the whole season is a book. And I've said this a gazillion times, and then I just didn't think it was possible that you can change totally from one game to the next. I know it, I see it, I feel it, I've lived it, and all kinds of stuff, but I didn't think it was going to happen. Is that fair?
That's fair. And then after the fact, it does, when you look at what happened, and Coach Cal explained it, and we saw it last year. Last year, Arkansas was a team that had more to prove than Kentucky did. Kentucky was riding high at that point, and they kind of flipped roles in this game, and the same result happened. The more desperate team won last year, the more desperate team won this year.
I think that was very apropos. And you would think being desperate should make the difference in winning or losing. That was my thought when I was a child. Seriously. Before I was 10 and I looked at sports, because I've been studying sports since the late 1950s, and you change your mind and stuff like that. And it seemed to me it was inconceivable that that would change your mind. I have changed my mind. I don't get it. I don't understand it. You should go out and play and have the veracity to win all the time. Guess what? That's not the real world. I really believe Cal was bullseye. I really believe that Arkansas, forget about that they were playing Kentucky. I know you can't and that kind of stuff last year, but, you know, they were on the brink of not making the NCAA tournament. They were on the brink, and I'm going to tell you, there was stuff down there that there were a lot of people who thought they weren't getting their money for Cal, okay? It was a rumble down there. I've talked to people in Arkansas. We've had Arkansas people on our show. There was a question mark. There was a rumble. Anybody want to say that's not true? It's BS. And now they love Cal. They love Cal. Yeah, they lost the other day. And by the way, Cal handled himself with pure class after the game. I'm not surprised, but I think it's important to point out. Obviously, I watched the whole press conference. And so I really think Kentucky was a lot more desperate against Arkansas this time, as Arkansas was much more desperate last year when they played Kentucky. And it's goofy, and I personally don't agree with it. But guess what? When it comes to your philosophy of getting ready for a game, I'm wrong. Okay? I'm wrong. Anytime I could play a game, I was always excited. And, you know, it's kind of the Pete Rose syndrome. The only problem is I had no talent. Neither here nor there. Not about me. So I think that's really powerful. Really powerful. So I'm not sure what to do next. So I do what I'm going to do. I'm an ad lib. I've said this many times. I don't like complaining about officials, yet I do it. Two of the worst calls, no calls, I have seen in forever. And then a third one that was BS. I think everybody listening to the sound of my voice understands there were 3 technicals in 38 seconds, okay? Garrison deserved the first one. I mean, the kid can't control himself. He just can't. I'm not surprised he got the technical, and as soon as he got close to that Arkansas player, I knew it was going to be a technical. It's Doug freaking Shows. Are you kidding me? It's Doug Shows, and I'm screaming at the TV going, what the, and I can't use the word, what the blank are you doing, Garrison? So he got it. He deserved it. Now, the bad part about that is Garrison raised the temperature for the entire game, and Garrison changed how Doug Shows was going to call the game. I'm not picking on Garrison. That's just how I see it. Okay? So Garrison deserved it. But there was a play before that when DJ Wagner literally, right in front of all the refs, Chandler had the ball, pushed him down with 2 hands to the ground. To me, that was the worst call of the game. The worst call of the game. And I'm sure many of you are not going to agree with it, and that's okay. Worst call, it was a no call. He literally took two hands and shoved right in front of everybody, shoved Chandler to the ground. I'm not just going to pick on Doug Shouse. All three officials suck. They suck. You want to complain about Doug Shouse? I got no problem with that because I'm doing it. But there are other officials. I know Doug is the head official in that group. So does that tell me that the other two officials are chicken blank to Doug Shouse? Are they afraid to stand up to him? I would love to know. Love to know exactly how the SEC office feels about that. It was awful. It was awful. And then Mo Diabate gets what I consider is the second worst call of the game. He makes a bucket and he's screaming. Now, if he was in the face of an Arkansas player, okay, give him a T. Really. If he was screaming in the face of Arkansas, that's a quick T. Okay? He was just screaming. That was a pure play. It was pure emotion. It's one of the things that makes sports special. It's one of the things that makes sports great if it's a team you're rooting for. And I'd say the same damn thing. It was an Arkansas player. You know, when Arkansas was coming back, and then Arkansas took the lead. Okay, guess what? If one of their players did the same thing, made the bucket, and is screaming at his fans, just screaming because he's in emotion, guess what? You might not like it as a Kentucky fan, but that doesn't mean it's a technical. That call was so bad. Doug was trying to control the game. Well, so you changed the rules? You're changing the rules? Really? Oh, we're going to referee this thing differently. I get calling it tighter. I do. How about this? Hey, Doug Shouse, how about you call the both coaches over and you say, hey, gentlemen, you guys need to talk to your team about calming it down. How about taking control and calmly do it? Not that Shouse does anything calmly. Calmly do that. If he did that, did you see it? Did you see it? And by the way, that doesn't have to delay the game 10 minutes. You can do it in what? Less than a minute. You can say 2 sentences. And if the coaches say anything, hey, guys, that's it. I'm just telling you, I'm warning you for friendly purposes. I don't want to get involved in a game. Please fix this. Do I think both coaches would have respected Doug more? Yes. Do I think both coaches would have said something? Absolutely. And then Pope got a technical. And he turned. And I've looked at that thing a number of times. Jimmy, I didn't see a curse. I could be wrong. And he did something you're supposed to do. You say your piece and you walk away. That is what the hell you're supposed to do. Mark Pope did it perfectly. Let me repeat. Mark Pope did it perfectly. I'm complaining, I'm whining, I'm ing, and I'm turning and walking away because I'm not trying to show you up. And Shouse gave him a T. Shouse gave him a T. It was awful. It was absolutely awful. You got Rob Dowster.
Yes, I do.
Field is 68. Let's play that. And never got to talk about the game in the monologue because we have a special guest coming up early today. He's a Field of 68. He's really good. They do that show every single night. It's a wonderful show. I occasionally listen to it. They get everybody on the show. Everybody who's anybody is on that show. Here's his thought about the game. And I got to tell you, I agree. Doug Shouse.
I think that the moment got to Doug Shouse, right? The text in the first half I thought was handled really well because you got a little bit of an incident on a free throw line. Like guys are wolfing at each other. Like it happens. Double text, move on, right? There's no penalty, no nothing. Everyone, you kind of made the statement you need to make. The tech on Brandon Garrison, I thought that was fine. The next one, though, on Mo Diabate, nothing pisses me off more. And Norm, I don't know if you feel the same way. I know Goodman feels the same way. Nothing makes me more frustrated than trying to legislate excitement and a player reacting to a big play out of the game. And I felt like that's exactly what Doug Shouse did there. Not only did he tee him up for screaming into the camera, but the result was Mark Pope defending his guy, and then you get another technical out of it, Goodman. you watch that and you watch the way that they handled those games. And then the result of it was that every single call went against Arkansas for like the next 5 minutes. Like that game turned into a ref show. And there's nothing that bothers me more about a big moment and a big game and a big atmosphere and a big environment on national television than having the refs become the story. And I feel like in the second half, the refs became the story. And the fact that the tech on Diabate turned into something that changed the game. And it felt like Doug Shows inserted himself in that game and impacted something and changed something in a way that you should never, ever, ever have officials. That just can't happen.
Can't happen. It can't happen. How many millions of times have I said that basketball is doing a lousy job developing young referees? And I've talked about how I would change it and stuff like that. I'm not going into it now. Maybe again some other time. That's the problem. You have too many refs that shouldn't be reffing. Shouldn't be reffing. By the way, Jimmy, I don't know if you saw that, but Shouse had a double technical in his game on Sunday.
I did. Memphis and Tulane. I saw that.
I promise you. You see how I'm laughing now?
Yeah.
I laughed harder when I saw it. I don't know about you. The game is not about him. It's just not about him. It's just awful. It's awful. One of the great refs of all times, Ben Oldham, coming up next, and Chip Rupp at 12:30. Music Star, J.D. Shelburne at 1. Then at 1:30, Nick Mingione, baseball is back. It's unbelievable. And I'll tell you, it would be a sweet deal for you. Check out the folks at Quantrill. Their choice of vehicles is spectacular. Whether it's the Subarus or the Cadillacs or the Volvos. We've now had 3 cars from Quantrill in about 12, 13 years. The Cadillac is about as smooth as it gets. I can't imagine a much better car taking a road. I just can't. I just can't. And we've had 2 Cadillacs, one for a long time, and now we have the VC60, the Volvo Hybrid. It's the best car we've had, and Judy and I have only been married for 43 years. So I think that's a pretty good sample size. It's unbelievable. And with the hybrid and plugging it in, it is saving us money all the time. Money all the time. It's basically saving us, I think, with the math I did, about 2 payments a year. I think that's pretty good. It's helpful. Besides, it's really smooth. You have 41 miles, and guess what? Rarely do you use 41 miles in a day. And when you do, well, you either plug it in before you go out again, if you want to, or forget about it. Use gas. It's okay to use gas. It's okay. I think, Jimmy, we filled up 1 full tank. Tank and a half, excuse me. It's a tank and a half since we've had the car. It's been months and months and months and months and months. And you can't have gas sit forever. Anyway, check out Quantrill. They treat you great. It's a family-owned operation. I trust them. They hire people who are good with people. They hire people that are good with people. Please use my name. Tell them you heard Cutler bragging about you on 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group.
You're back in 20 seconds.
Hershey, Reese, Kit Kat, and Payday standard size candy bars, 2 for $3, and Nature Valley granola bars, 2 for $2.
I feel warmer already. Clark's Puppet Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Welcome back. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM. Want to bring in an old friend, and I say that with kindness, the old part anyway. Ben Olden.
That's old. Emphasis on old.
You know what? You're smart. How you don't look your age. Are you older than me? I have no idea, but you certainly never looked it.
I'm older than a whole lot of people, Alan.
Oh, I'm sorry. You didn't want to say your age. All good by me. I'm 70.
Oh, I'm 82.
Oh my gosh, Jimmy, he looks like he's younger than 65 and in spectacular shape.
Well, I am in good shape. But I'm still old.
God bless you. You were ahead of league officials for football in the SEC. Did you ever do any national championship football games?
Yes, did the 2000 national championship game. Yes.
Ever do SEC conference championship games?
8 times.
8 times. So you might have a little experience at this.
Yes. Yes, I do. Fortunately, in terms of bowl games, I've done the Rose Bowl twice. I've done the Orange Bowl twice. I've done the Sugar Bowl, Cotton Bowl, Fiesta Bowl. I've done all the major bowl games and a national championship. So I've been blessed.
And you're very, very good, Jimmy. I would think that Ben has qualifications that would not preclude us to have a little conversation with you. Would you agree that these credentials are like ridiculously good?
Yeah, I think it's about as good as it gets.
Yes, that's a perfect way of putting it. Okay, Ben, so you're a diehard Kentucky fan. Correct me when I'm wrong. I
am. And listen, I know the game of football very, very well, but I'm very, very biased when it comes to Kentucky basketball.
And that's fair. And I was about to say you're probably biased, but I like how you said it better. But there's all right. This is seriously where I'm looking for, Ben. There's a temperature that and please tell me I'm wrong. Please. Doing this for 1,000 years, there's a temperature that I believe, I don't give a rat's what sport you're doing. I don't care if it's baseball, football, basketball. There's a temperature and personality that I think is necessary when you are an official. There's a time when you got to just tee people up. It's just the way of the world. You know what? And too bad. But there's a way of also attempting to diffuse things and not putting yourself in the moment and trying to calm people down before you blow that whistle. Am I wrong about any of this?
You're exactly right. And what I've tried to always do is keep the focus on where the focus needs to be. It needs to be on the players, on the coaches, and not on the men wearing stripes. That's the wrong way to go when I have tried to develop, mentor young football officials coming up. I say the focus cannot be on you. Make sure it's between the lines, that you focus on the players totally.
I think we forgot to add that you're also head of SEC officials too. After you got
no, you said now. I was in charge of replay. I was on the field. I was on the field for 25 years, and then I went to replay, and then the SEC asked me to take over the leadership for replay, but I was not in charge. I trained the deep officials, but no, I was never in charge of the overall officiating group other than the replay officials.
My bad. I'm sorry. And guess what? I've had that wrong for decades now. So I'm glad you fixed me on that. Okay. And I know you want to be a little careful because you haven't ref Final Four NCAA games and that kind of stuff. But as an observer, if you don't mind me putting it this way to you, when you saw what Doug Shows did with the 3 technicals in 38 seconds, I thought the Garrison was deserved. I didn't think the next 2 were deserved. I thought when Chandler was pushed down with 2 hands when he had the ball by DJ Wagner, not having a technical there was an egregious mistake. What did you feel as an official when you're watching what Doug Shows was doing, if you can take your bias towards Kentucky out?
All right, let me tell you the way I handle those kinds of situations. What he did may have been totally proper. The way I did things, and I've been on a lot of top level games. I've called several games where it's number 1 in the country playing number 2 in the country, and whatever happened, I would go to the player immediately and say enough, and that would settle him down. I do not want to overemphasize things, and unless there was a fight going on, I didn't throw a flag for unsportsmanlike conduct, which is the equivalent to a technical foul. But again, I think there is a way to handle things in dealing with coaches. I know when Coach Pope got teed up, when a coach would challenge me on the sideline, I either didn't pay any attention to him, but if it got too extreme, I would go to the coach, look him right in the eye and say, "What did you say, Coach?" And that would alert him, like, it's going to happen. If I say anything again, I'm going to get penalized. And they would, every single time in major college football, the coach would turn around, he'd slap his hands, and walk away from me. I don't want the attention. Personally, I don't want the attention to be on the officials. I want the game to be decided between the two competing teams.
Ben, that's the perfect answer. I don't see how, in other words, to say, okay, you do it again, I'm going to get you. But please don't do it again, because I really don't want to get you. I'm not here to get you.
That's the way I officiated the ball game, and I had great relationships with the SEC coaches, with the other coaches, and I just thinking back about the games. I had a Florida-Miami game a lot of years ago when, believe it or not, Jimmy Johnson was coaching for Miami. A big ball game, interstate rivalry, and everybody said Jimmy Johnson is a crybaby. He will work you over the whole ball game. And I had a clip on his sideline, fairly near him in the first quarter, and I went up to him and looked him straight in the eye and said, "Coach, had a clip on number 46. He said, "Ben, I saw it." And he turned around and didn't open his mouth the rest of the game. Again, it's developing that relationship during the game. Before the game, you talk to them and let them realize you're human beings, but you want the game to be played by, settled by the players on the field.
And I'm assuming, one, people knew your reputation, okay, because they know good refs and bad refs and stuff like that. And two, that commanded more respect before you opened up your mouth. And three, they knew you were serious. And I think, you earn your stripes, and you earned your stripes. One more. I have to, Ben. I just have to. You can laugh at me.
Well, no. What does have to? Alan, are you setting me up?
Yes, and because I like you so much, I'm telling you, okay? Come on, man, how long have we known each other?
A long time, believe me.
I don't remember the year. I think it was the early 1980s. I could be wrong. Okay, Ben, if you're with me, I'm good with that. Ben, as a Kentucky fan, when you saw Chandler getting pushed down with two hands and not an immediate technical on a scale to 1 to 10. Hang on. How ticked off were you? And two, when Mo got the technical now, if he screamed in an Arkansas kid's face, tee him up right away. And I would say the same thing.
No. That different thing entirely. That goes to a totally different level.
But let me
different. Let me tell you. Go ahead. Let me tell you.
Go ahead.
I want to tell you a funny football story.
Okay.
I had. This was Florida State, number 1 playing number 2 in the country. They were going for the national championship. I don't know what year it was, but it was in Tallahassee. And Florida State has a tradition where before the game, the team gathers on the logo in the middle of the field. They take off their headgears and they're jumping up and down trying to get the crowd in the game. The Seminole chief, whatever, comes riding in on a horse, throws a spear down on the field, and the fans are crying. It's a very emotional thing. Well, Florida knew that was going to happen, so the Florida players gathered in the middle of the field before the game started, and they weren't going to let the Florida State players get there to do their ritual before the game. Well, I saw that going on. The officials' jurisdiction in football begins 1 hour before kickoff, and the Florida State players were walking toward the Florida players, and they were starting to jaw at each other, and I started drifting toward the middle of the field because I said, something bad's about to happen. I didn't know what the tradition was back then because I'm an SEC guy. So by that time, the assistant coaches were running on the field, and they were grabbing players, get back on the sideline, get back on the sideline. Well, one of the Florida players turned when a Florida State assistant coach said, get back on your sideline. When the Florida State assistant coach touched the Florida player turned, hit him in the jaw, and dropped him right in front of me, knocked him down in front of me. Well, I threw my flag. We brought both coaches to the middle of the field and said, coaches, we can end this game right now if you want to. We can just say the game's over. No, we're gonna play the game. Everything's under control now. I said, but we have some ejections. Well, who are the ejections? And the referee, I was not the white hat. The referee said, well, for Florida, number 1, and Steve Spurrier, who was coach of Florida then, Steve Spurrier said, number 1, who threw him out? I said, I did, coach. And probably the whole time in my career, Steve Spurrier called me by my first name. He usually called me other things, but
like Spurrier.
He said, Ben, he said, who threw him out? I said, I did, coach. He said, you realize this player is a first-team All-American. He's a fifth-year senior. The last time he's going to have the opportunity to play in this game, I looked him right in the eye, and I have a picture where I was looking him right in the eye. I said, Coach, last year was that opportunity. He's not going to have that opportunity today. And again, everything settled down. We had a great ball game. Now, Florida State worked on that position. This was an All-American defensive back. They worked on that position the whole game. Florida State ended up winning the game, and Florida State ended up playing for the national championship a month later, and they had that player back in the game, and Florida ended up winning the game. But again, you do those kinds of things, but this was a severe thing. Would I penalize a player for a severe thing? Absolutely I would. But you try to reduce the temperature a little bit. You try and talk to the players, and if it means getting in a player's face saying that's enough, they'll respond. They'll respond. And it's I had a very good experience with that, I'll say.
Good stuff. Really quick. In your humble opinion, it's a great story, by the way. I'm picturing, because I've seen what they do at midfield between Florida and Florida State. It's tradition. Everybody
Right.
knows what the hell is going on. And the Florida kid said, we're not putting up with this blank anymore. And that was in the cocky days of Spurrier and Florida. And both teams were really cocky.
Yes.
Good. Okay. In your humble opinion, at the Kentucky
I
fan,
don't have a humble opinion.
Good. Then don't be
I don't have a humble opinion.
Be biased. One of the greatest refs. Be biased. When you saw that Mo Diabate got a technical when he shouldn't have gotten a technical on a scale of 1 to 10, how ticked off were you?
Very, very. I just, again, I thought at that point, and I don't like to criticize my brothers in stripes, but I thought at that point the officials had let the game get away from them, and I was looking at it from an official's perspective. I thought they had lost it. And again, I'm frustrated because I thought the focus of the game has changed all of a sudden, and the focus is on the men wearing stripes, and I didn't like that. So that's my biased opinion.
That's perfect. Hey, Ben, God bless you. Thank you. I wish I looked as good as you do at 82.
Oh my.
Bless
Hey,
you.
Alan, I really appreciate I appreciate your friendship over the years.
Me too. And you always know that if you tell me it's off the record, it don't get on radio. I did bad grammar on purpose. And if you give me permission to use it, I use it. It's a pretty simple deal. And I wish every young reporter, not ripping anybody, every young reporter understood that and kept to it. And by the way, I'll tell you a little secret. You get more information when people trust you, but that's not why you do it. You do it because you have to look at yourself in the mirror. It's one of my pet peeves, and it was handed down to me. And I think my generation has done a lousy job of handing it down to the next generation. So I kind of blame myself, but not totally. Does that sound fair?
Well, Alan, you know I trust you. You do know that over the years, absolutely.
Yes. Bless you, Ben. Thank you so much for doing this on a dime. I appreciate you. 82. God bless you. Hey, in a couple, I said a couple months, for no reason, would you please come back?
Of course I will. Absolutely.
Thank you, Ben. Bless you.
Have a good one.
You
We'll
too.
see you. Bye.
One of my favorite people. And Jimmy, I'm telling you, he's got stories upon stories upon stories upon stories upon stories. I hope I get this right. Blue Chips Media put out there, because I'm reading and texting and talking at the same time. Jimmy, I have trouble doing two things at once. So it's three things at once. Could I possibly have gotten this wrong? What I'm about to say.
There's a chance.
Okay. So Blue Chips Media, I believe, put out that Kentucky is 9-0 in games where Garrison commits a technical or a flagrant foul. Jenna Lifson, who's done a really good job for the student newspaper at Kentucky, the Colonel, says she did the work. Kentucky men's basketball is not 9-0 when Brandon Garrison commits a technical. In fact, he doesn't even have 9 technical fouls in his career. She does say what's true. She did the research. Give her credit. Kentucky is 3-0 when Brandon Garrison commits a technical, and 5-0 all-time in games where he has picked up a tech. And she puts the games out there. Okay. In any event, Blue Chip is calling it flagrant foul. Okay. Whatever the discrepancy is, she went back and looked at it, and I can tell you this, he's got to control himself better. The funny part is, Jimmy, it's possible that fired up the team.
Yeah, this is one of those, it'd be probably better if Brandon Garrison doesn't read this and then let it get to his head and think that I have to do that. You know, there's some stats with that where the causation isn't always the correlation. Like it doesn't, the two aren't simpatico because of that one thing.
Agree. Chip Rupp coming up next. Hey, don't forget about my friend. She's great. Terry Page. She should never have an appointment. A great licensed massage therapist, a healer. She's been helping me for years, long before I started doing this show. 859-373-0578, 859-373-0578. I've teased her. You can't retire because I need you. She helps me that much. In Butler, Kentucky, Monday and Tuesday. In Lexington, Thursday and Friday. Check her out. Please use my name. 859-373-0578. Alan Cutler, Chip Rupp coming up next. I'm a little late, Chip. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment. Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
Hi, this is Patrick DiGiacomo, and this is why I would recommend Republic Bank. So, when the bank manager brought me over just to show me how their ITM works, he hit this button where an actual live person came on the screen, and she was so kind and helpful, and it just made me feel like, wow, I'm not dealing with just a machine, I'm dealing with somebody that's actually paying attention to what I'm doing, and it made me feel really good.
And that's how Republic Bank helps their customers go from living to thriving. Learn more at republicbank.com. Member FDIC.
Ooh, baby, it's cold outside.
Uncle Rick, warm yourself up with a hot coffee or cappuccino at Clark's Pup and Shop.
Kappa what?
Cappuccino. And while you're there, be sure to pick up some of our in-store specials. We have assorted Hershey, Reese, Kit Kat, and Payday standard sized candy bars, 2 for $3, and Nature Valley granola bars, 2 for $2.
I feel warmer already. Clark's Pup and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler for my friends at Quantrell Cadillac. There's something unmistakable the moment you step into a Cadillac. The soft glow of the dashboard, the quiet power waiting beneath your foot. Every detail is designed to move you before you ever move. On the road, it's smooth, responsive, effortless. Advanced technology surrounds you. Performance responds instantly, and the world outside fades away. This isn't just driving, it's arrival. At Quantrell Cadillac, that experience is closer than you think, with exceptional offers including 2.9 APR for 60 months on select models. Luxury has never felt more attainable. Visit QuantrellCadillac.com. See dealer for complete terms.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
We had a huge emphasis on the first 4 minutes, 6 minutes of a scrimmage each day, and the guys really worked. It's hard in practice to simulate the intensity of a game, but these guys really tried to do that, and so it really came from our team and our staff of figuring out a better way to approach this. And it doesn't guarantee that we're not going to have slow starts, but it certainly was a credit to our guys for being ready to go from the tip.
Good stuff from Pope. We are late for Chipper Up. Let me just say one thing. All the credit to Jenna Lifshin, who does a wonderful job for the Colonel. And so it's been out there that Kentucky men's basketball is 9-0 when Brandon Garrison commits a technical foul. She did the research. Garrison doesn't even have, I'm reading a text that she sent me with what she put on Twitter, and I'm going to retweet it. She says, in fact, Garrison doesn't even have 9 technical fouls in his career. What is true, Kentucky is 3-0 when Brandon Garrison commits a technical foul and 5-0 all-time in games. The 5-0 adds up to also Oklahoma State. So, Jenna, thank you. Thank you for doing the homework. Really, really good. And now a gentleman who's smiling because he went to a wedding. You didn't get married a second time, and you only have one wife. You've been married a long time. I want to clear these things up right away now.
I'm happily married. Been married 30 years.
God bless.
Yeah, it's been great. No, I was not there for my wedding. I was there for a dear friend's daughter's wedding, and so I was keeping tabs on the cats as much as I could during the reception, and it was nice to see the final outcome.
You're surprised I was sarcastic about your marriage and your life and personal life.
I know you were. I know you were.
You would expect nothing less, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so we just had Ben Oldham on, and I apologize for being a little late with you. And you know Ben, he's one of the great human beings. I didn't realize he was 82. Oh my gosh, he doesn't look 65. Seriously. I need to talk about what he eats in his work. I work out every day, and look how bad I look. And I eat organic almost all the time. I got to eat a lot less, though. I don't want to say that too loud. Anyway, I don't like the BBB on refs, but Doug Shaw had one of the worst games really I've ever seen. Chandler is knocked to the ground with 2 hands by DJ Wagner. There's not an immediate technical. Now, here's what ticks me off. It's not just Doug Shaw's. You got 3 officials. Are the other 2 officials blind? I'm sorry for putting it that way. Or are they so too chicken blank to say something because Doug is one of the most powerful refs in the country, so I won't dare upset Doug Shows and say that he's wrong, which means those officials suck. Not only would I complain if I'm head of the league officials to Doug, I'd complain to the 2 officials. And I would tell Doug, your other 2 officials are reprimanded as well, because if they think you're wrong, you got to get the game right. I don't give a crap if it's Kentucky or Arkansas or Oshkosh or Louisville. Get the damn thing right. It's just like I've always said, you know, you can challenge. Great. And if you win the challenge, you get a second challenge. Great. And then you're done. That's BS. Suppose the officials make 5 mistakes and you win 5 challenges. It's not elongating the game, which is what they're worried about. It's disingenuous. It's BS. They are not allowing it to be ref properly. Pope's been it seems like perfect when it comes to these challenges. He's really, really, really good. Well, he's out of 2, and I'm going, well, what if they make a mistake in the last 5 minutes? It's just wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. Doug Shows is awful, and he does this. This is not the first or second time. How the heck does the SEC allow him to continue doing this?
I wish I had an answer for you on that. I don't normally like to pile on the referees. I mean, very rarely do I want to blame a loss or a victory on how good or bad the officiating was. Doug falls into a category of guys like TV Teddy Valentine. You know, the game's on. They see the red light and they know where the camera is and they want to be on it. They want to be an impact player. And everybody knows a great referee is one that does an efficient job and you don't even notice they're there. But that's not how Doug is wired. He wants to be front and centered, spends a lot of time in the gym pumping up his guns so he looks great. And he had a poor performance on Saturday, I can tell you that.
I don't know if you know the name Ed Hockley, but when I did the Bengals radio network for 14 years, Dave Lapham used to go nuts on him. He would accuse him, and I think he was right, by the way, and if not, it was close, of purposely wearing his ref's shirt 2 sizes too small. Because the man has pipes. Okay, he's got pipes. But I've never seen an official wear such a tight jersey, whatever you want to call it. And Dave would pick on him, and we would laugh. And first of all, he was right. And it was like he would say, it's Hockley. What is he going to do today to get in front of the camera when he shouldn't have to get camera? You know, he's got to make sure he's on camera at least X number of times. And you know what? The first time I heard it from I laughed because it was funny. It was like in my first year of doing it. And I got to know the officials a lot more just from observation. When you're in the booth, it's different than you're watching at home. You pay attention to a lot of different things. And I went, son of a gun, Lapp is right. And he never failed to take the opportunity to rip him. Not at all. And he was right. And he was considered a really good ref. But nobody buys tickets and spends a fortune to see a ref.
No, they don't. And part of the decay of the game has been these coaches' challenges. I do agree with you. If you're good at it and they're successful, you should retain them. You shouldn't be limited to just a couple and they go away because, if they're overcoming poor officiating, you should retain them and be able to use them whenever you need to during the game. However, the review, they do that far too much. And those guys love it because they get to come over to the monitor and all 3 of them get to be on TV and be on screen. And one of the guys gets to be so lucky to announce their decision over the PA system. So it's taken them from being guys that were supposed to just officiate the game and be behind the scenes to now front and center, and they think they're celebrities.
It's just wrong. And I got to tell you, I blame the league offices. They can put a stop to it.
Well, I'll tell you the other thing about officiating. I go back to the guys that I knew when I played that were all former administrators, coaches here in town. Dave Bear, Jake Bell, Phil Greer, all those guys officiated. And they did it for somewhat of a nominal amount of money. So they would get in the car after a day of school and they'd grind. They didn't have the money to fly. They drove and they supplemented their income through officiating. This game with, legalized gambling almost in every state, the complexities of everything the NCAA has placed on us and the money that is flowing through the SEC, the Big 10, Big 12, these big conferences, they need to do it the NBA's time. If you look at the NBA, I don't love the NBA, but they have, for the most part, they have pretty good officiating. It's because they're full-time employees of the league. The days of these guys working a 9 to 5 doing something else and then coming out and dabbling to supplement their income with officiating 100 games, those days are over. They need to employ these guys, put them all through the same program, and hold them to higher standard. And right now, the way it's structured, you really can't do that.
Part of the problem is, and I happen to agree with you, is that some of these refs have jobs. Now, I remember when I got here in the 80s, I did some research on it, and some of the really good refs were like insurance salesmen and stuff like that,
Yep.
and making more money in their day job than refereeing. But refereeing, as one of the refs, I could say his name, it's not important, said this pays for family vacations, this, that, and the other, plus they love doing it and stuff like that. And I never asked this person directly. It's not, you had a long conversation with him because they were refereeing a game. It was either before or after, and a couple funny conversations in timeouts. So it was short. I got the feeling, and this was a guy you respected, by the way. I got the feeling that he'd probably give it up because you're making that much more with insurance and you're not going to pay officials the kind of money he was making and some others. And by the way, the 3 gentlemen you're talking about from Lexington, I'm not saying it's because I live in Lexington. I always thought they were great officials. Great officials. Oh. And Bell. I'm going
Jake.
Not Jake. No. His son is a lawyer.
Oh, Bruce Bell.
I used to call it senior moments. I call it teenager moments. His dad, Bruce's
I'm
dad.
having one now.
Okay. Bruce's dad is the only referee, and it'll never happen again, to referee the NCAA championship game in a Super Bowl. And was one of the strongest, toughest officials and had a personality, but was known as being tough and fair. Can't believe I can't remember his first name. That's bad. And when he was still with us, I didn't know him great, but I knew him a little bit. I didn't mind his personality, honestly. And I'm not saying because it's Lexington, but because he was a stickler for getting it right. And yeah, you saw his personality. You absolutely saw his personality, but he didn't do the stuff that Doug Shows does.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't spend the whole time talking about Doug. Doug's full of himself. You can tell it. There's been a time period where he was one of the truly elite in the league and or in the NCAA as a whole. I think he's done several championship games and Final Four. So he's been recognized by his peers as being really good. I thought what happened on Saturday was absurd, and even more so when Cal was coaching at Kentucky. You know where I sit at the games, so I get to hear all the interaction between the referees and the coaches pretty much firsthand. And I just had this underlying feeling when Cal was at Kentucky that Doug really disliked him, and that, you know, Cal will grate on your nerves because he just grinds the entire game. And it was to a point where he became white noise, and we weren't going to get any calls from Doug. So to go to Fayetteville and have him make, 3 tech calls in favor, and it clearly benefited Cal at that point, I was stunned by it. But things change. Cal's a creative guy. I think he used Doug in some of his summer camps, hired him to come and work those. And, I think in the heat of battle, you may feel one way about someone, but then in a different atmosphere like the summer camps, when he can pay him, which seems totally inappropriate, but that's the way they get the deal structured now. So it's available to all. So it's not just Doug.
2 things. Couldn't agree with you more. Totally inappropriate. But here's the other thing, and it's also smart by Cal for another reason, which actually could help him, and this part doesn't bother me. When you get to see people outside of their work, which is the games, you might start seeing that that person is real. And maybe Cal wasn't kissing up to him at the camps, because I'm not accusing him of that. I wasn't there, but I bet Cal was just Cal. Cal, as you know, can be loquacious and funny and ribbing with a smile. And perhaps if Doug saw that side, and I'm sure he did, that might have eased it up for during the games. But you're right, an official shouldn't go to a then again, what are you supposed to do? I'm playing devil's advocate when you have campers and stuff like that, and you want the games officiating. I guess you can have high school refs who wouldn't then ref a college game. There's a way of going around it. But your point's really well taken.
Yeah, and I mean, that's not to point out Cal. That's just a flaw in the system. Cal is a brilliant guy. He has a marketing degree. The guy could do anything he wants to do, and the fact that he's that creative, good for him. And take a page out of that book. I don't think it hurts at all.
By the way, I'm not. Thank you for saying that. You weren't chopping on Cal. I'm not either. He ain't the only coach that have done that. But I really appreciate you pointing it out, because some people say, forget about that. Okay, I want to play a soundbite. And it might be one of the worst sound bites of the year. I mean this sincerely. This is something, I like Rick Barnes. I respect the heck out of Rick Barnes. He's got like 850 wins, thereabouts. I think he's a great man. I think he's a great Christian. I think he wears his heart on his sleeve like a lot of coaches. I think Tennessee, he was lucky when they hired him. Can I be any more complimentary? But I got to tell you, he regrets, I'm sure, saying this. It's going to be taken out of context. He was just saying what he thought. This is about as no filter as it gets. Tennessee loses a game, and this is what Rick Barnes said.
I mean, at the end of the game, some of the passes that we throw, and I mean, just, I don't know what to say other than sometimes I wonder if my guys are betting on games. I shouldn't say that, but that's what erase that. I don't want to say that. But I just wonder what's happening. I mean, because I know we're too good of players to do that. Was that a bad? I apologize. I shouldn't have said that, but But the fact is, we got to get some.
Wow. And you know what? he's not the only coach who's probably thought that. And I'm telling you, my respect for Rick Barnes is off the charts. Tennessee was lucky to hire him. Texas was stupid letting him go. He almost became the coach here. I'd love to know a little bit more of the real reasons. I think I do. Neither here nor there. And if he became the Kentucky coach at that time instead of Gillespie, oh my gosh, he might still be here now. Be that as it may, I can't believe he said it. I can't believe he said it. And that soundbite is going to be played nonstop, maybe for years. And there'll be some people who will be accusatory. I'm not. I'm just saying, he's saying his team really stunk. And by the way, I'm not accusing Tennessee players of anything. Please don't get that from this. But do I think there are some kids that were betting on games who might throw bad passes? Yeah, I do, by the way. Can I prove it? No. Are they looking into all kinds of things? Are their antennas up? Absolutely. Chip, what say you?
Yeah, well, I'm a huge Rick Barnes fan. I think he's a great human being. Fantastic basketball coach. But even the best of the best sometimes just make a kind of an asinine comment that they shouldn't make, and that would probably rank right up there. And that's one that you hope to make 10 minutes before the Super Bowl coverage comes on, and maybe it gets lost in all the media hype. But unfortunately, he made it this past weekend, and that it's not going to go away. So it's an unfortunate thing.
Really is. It's going to stick with him the rest of his career.
Yeah, and he didn't mean it. I mean, it was tongue in cheek, kind of being funny. And I can't tell you the number of times I've watched a game and there's a bonehead play at the end. I'm like, what just happened there? That guy bet on the game. But to say it to the media, the unfortunate part is, given his platform, you can't hide from it. So he brushed it off as much as he can. But I think there's always going to be a little bit in the back of your mind that wonders if these errant passes, bonehead plays at the end, or if there's something more nefarious going on with those.
The only good thing about betting, and by the way, I have no problem with betting, but I think you need to police it properly. To me, it's how different is that alcohol? There's a bar all over the place. There's a liquor store all over the place. If you can't handle what you're drinking, then you have a problem. But to me, that doesn't mean there should be any liquor any place, whether I drink liquor or not. You have to have some responsibility as a human being. And I really believe that. And I also believe for quite a while now, the different betting sites are strongly looking at suspicious activity. I know this for a fact, that the Vegas bookies always looked at that stuff. And I've used this example before. There was a mess with Tulane a long time ago. And it's the Vegas bookies figured it out. They figured it out. Because on a Tuesday, if that much money is bet on Tulane, it's a red flag. So that's what they did. We got you late. I apologize for that. Do you think now that the last game is a trend, which if it is, Kentucky will be back in the top 25 in the very near future?
I don't want to come across as a negative person, but if you're in sales, you know that one of anything is not a trend. What I will say is it was a quality win. Maybe the most quality win of the year. To go as an unranked team, battle a ranked team that's now become, in the last couple of years, a rivalry game on the road, and you go into that atmosphere and win, it's a quality win. The positive thing that is moving more towards a trend is Mark Pope has done a fantastic job head-to-head with Rick Barnes. So we have them coming in on Saturday, and there's no reason to believe that that's not going to be a favorable matchup for us, and we can string together a couple here, and that'd be another quality win. So I feel super optimistic. The interesting part's going to be when March gets here, Alan. This is going to be one of those teams that it's going to be must-watch, because just as we could go and lay an egg to Oakland or St. Peter's, this team has that capability. They also have the capability of putting together a performance like they did this past weekend or at Tennessee and going to the Sweet 16 or further. I mean, you just don't know what you're going to get.
Like a box of chocolates? Wasn't there a movie that had that in there?
It was. I would love a more predictable ride, but unfortunately this group is just wildly unpredictable. But it also makes it fun to watch. If you know you're going to go out and maul everyone every game, I like that too. But this is one you have to watch because you don't know what you're going to
get. Good. Hey, brother, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Sorry for being a little late. Catch you down the road and stay warm.
I will. Thanks for having me.
Thanks,
Catch
Chip.
up soon. Bye.
It's great. Always enjoy talking to Chip. Always enjoyed. Ben Oldham, Chip Rupp, and country music star J.D. Shelburne coming up next. Don't forget about my friend Ramon Carriega at Blue Lotus Health, 859-533-0914, 859-533-0914. Acupuncture, now also providing a licensed massage therapist. You've heard me say it ad nauseum. It's a beautiful thing how much Ramon has helped me, not a little, but tremendously as a friend, and his knowledge. And his knowledge is way past my spectrum, way past. Please use my name. Please consider going to get help. He can spot often a problem before you have it. And if you have a problem, there are so many different things. The list is long where there are ways with acupuncture can help you and change you. And he's done that for me. Appreciate him, like Terry Page, tremendously. 859-533-0914. Blue Lotus Health, acupuncture. J.D. Shelburne coming up next. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313. Hi, this is Alan Cutler from the depths of Mammoth Cave to the rugged cliffs of Red River Gorge to the muddy boots and long days in Daniel Boone National Forest and every back road that gets you there. Your adventures are built for Subaru with legendary, symmetrical, all-wheel drive, proven safety, and the durability Quantrell Subaru is known for. You can push farther, stay longer, and explore without hesitation. Right now, 0% APR financing on new 2025 Subaru Outback models through February 2nd, 2026. Built for Kentucky, ready for anywhere. Quantrell Subaru. Visit QuantrellSubaru.com. See dealer for details.
My name is Terry Schultz, CEO for the Rutherford County Area Habitat for Humanity. Republic Bank has really been a game changer. They have invested not only financially, but time to really listen so that we can move our mission forward. What I like about Republic Bank is they've come in asking, what are your needs? And I don't know that you get that any other place.
That's Terry's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Ooh, baby, it's cold outside.
Uncle Rick, warm yourself up with a hot coffee or cappuccino at Clark's Pub and Shop.
Kappa what?
Cappuccino. And while you're there, be sure to pick up some of our in-store specials. We have assorted Hershey, Reese, Kit Kat, and Payday standard size candy bars, 2 for $3, and Nature Valley granola bars, 2 for $2.
I feel warmer already. Clark's Pub and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
W223CV Lexington. ESPN Sports Radio 1392.5. WLXG Lexington, an LM Communications broadcasting station. The only no-filter sports show in Kentucky. It's the Alan Cutler Show with award-winning TV sportscaster Alan Cutler.
You don't belong on this tailgate. You got a smile that can be on Broadway. I can see you in a red dress dimming those city lights.
You know what that song is perfect for? You don't belong? Doug Shows. That should be Doug Shows. That'd be unbelievable. It's perfect. Before I introduce this guest, let me tell you, I just went to his Twitter, and he has this is beautiful. So J.D. Shelburne is on stage, and I don't know what song he's singing. He probably remembers, but he holds up 3 fingers while he's singing. He's on stage, right? And he says, every time when Chandler hits a 3. J.D. Shelburne, how are you, friend? How are you? And so happy for your success. You keep on building and building and building and building. What's up, dude?
Hey, man. Good to see you. Good to hear your voice again. Life is good, man. And good to be back on your show.
See, last time we talked, it's been a while, but you hadn't gone on, but it was already done that you were going on the Grand Ole Opry, and your careers just keep on rising and rising and rising and rising. What's the latest thing?
Well, the latest thing, the Opry happened last year. It was a big moment. I have a new bourbon, a second series of bourbon coming out February the 14th. Of course, we're playing a lot of different shows. I had an album just come out end of the year, so we're building our tour, promoting this new bourbon line, which has been pretty crazy, and then cheering on these Wildcats on my free time. So busy year.
So and congratulations to all that. I really believe you kind of epitomize the typical vivacious, crazy, nuts, loving, with veracity Kentucky fan. If I missed something, I apologize. But, I don't think you mind me sharing this because it's just part of it. If you really love the program, it's just like this. But there are times you want to strangle somebody. There are times you're about to throw in the towel. There are times you say, I'm not watching the rest of the damn season. And then what happens the other day? And you're not off the wagon. You're just threatening to go off the wagon. You've never gone off the wagon. Now, a lot of people say, I'm not going to watch a Kentucky game. Most of them, it's just BS. It's just.
Totally.
You're just ticked off at the moment. And now you have this big effervescent smile. I'd like to tell you, I knew they were going to win. I was concerned, not just that they would lose, but they get blown out. So I'm wrong. I can't figure this team out. So how ticked off have you been this year, and how much joy did you have a little extra?
Oh, man, I tell you what, I was really disappointed this season starting out. The Louisville loss stung. We were down 5, had a chance to win it. We've been battling injuries the whole season. It seems like it's a thing that happens every season. It's just like, why us? And then, Gonzaga comes to Nashville and blows us off the floor. And then, of course, Vanderbilt. And then I had, to be honest with you, I had no clue that we would play Tennessee like we did and beat them there. And then what we did to Arkansas Saturday, I'm like, I swear, if I was a betting man, I would have put every dollar I had on Arkansas to win. There's the momentum going to that game, and then I actually had a gig that night. I was backstage in the green room at French Lick, Indiana, watching it, and I was like, "We're gonna win this game." And but man, hats off to this team. And like I said, I don't know what to say. Sometimes I'm frustrated. Sometimes, and then sometimes I'm like, "Did that just happen?" You know, I have to say, Mark Pope beat Cal Patino in Indiana in his second season. That we ought to be pretty happy with that. I think the Louisville loss, we didn't have our full team, but we're turning things around slowly but surely. I see. So let's see if we can just keep it going.
You're going to be honest with me, really honest, and this is part of being a wild, crazy fan. This is not negative. This is this. So you have what I call the right pure emotion, the ups and downs, whatever. Because if you have no emotion, you don't feel it. If you don't,
I
feel
gave up on him once. Yeah.
Okay. I was going to ask you, one, have you? I thought you had. I was trying to ease into it for you because my monologue, I'll go crazy. But I guess I don't grill guests. I'm just a conversation. You know me better than that. So I was going to ask you, one, did you ever give up on him this year? And two, did you ever give up on Pope?
Actually, yes, on the team. I had a little bit of doubt with Pope at first. The Louisville game really stung me. I would just, that hurt. I mean, I had a gig that night and I was watching it from my phone, and my dad kept texting me, and then I got home with about the last 5 minutes to play, and that took a lot of wind out of my sails. And then we, starting the SEC season 0-2. Losing some of these games. I mean, when Vanderbilt beat us recently, I was kind of back in the trenches after that. I was going to go to that game, and I'm glad I didn't. But I had given up on the team. You read some of the media headlines. I try to not look into some of the stuff you see on Facebook and Twitter of, problems maybe with the players amongst the staff. You don't know what to believe. We're not in the gym. We don't live there. And so you kind of take that with a grain of salt. So I'm trying to be positive. I'm a very positive guy. I was fighting for Cal at the end of his time when people were just dragging me through the nails on Twitter last year or 2 years ago. And so I was a little down on Pope a bit. Had some questions. I love him. I love the guy. But I was just, our injuries, and I was just like, man, why? And I'm thinking, why can't we get these players that Kansas is getting and Duke's getting? I mean, we're Kentucky. I mean, it just seems like, I'm getting a little frustrated on recruiting a little bit. And I'm like, you know what? Take a step back. Let's just worry about this season. We'll worry about next season when we get here. And so beating Arkansas, beating Calipari was icing on the cake for me. My favorite win of the season. I was, like I said, I was actually playing French Lick Casino. I had my phone on the stage. I was clicking my ESPN app during the set, and I kept saying, Kentucky's up. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I get off stage, and I saw the second part of the second half and watched it from the green room with my dad, mom and dad came to the show. And so I'm happy at the moment. I'm pretty happy, and we can beat Oklahoma Wednesday. I'll be even happier. So I just want to make the tournament. That's my main. That was my fear a couple weeks ago. Will we make the tournament? And so it looks like we should now.
I've gone up and back a couple times about making the tournament too. I can't lie. But if they make the tournament, losing the first game, you're going to be jumping off the boat so fast your head will spin. Matter of fact, you won't even have your life raft on.
No. Yeah, if we lose the first game, I mean, if we come to Nashville and lose the first game of the SEC tournament, and we lose the first game of the NCAA tournament, I'm going to be pretty deflated.
Pretty?
Really, guarantee. You know, with injuries, it's just man, is Quentin coming back? You know, we've lost Lowe for the season. Is Cam going to come back? We may have the best team we have right now with what we got that I've been satisfied with even before Lowe, Quentin's, and Cam Williams, which is crazy to think. 'Cause I thought we were done after Cam went out. I'm like, oh, we're done. But here we are. They're shocking us. I mean, beating Arkansas. Who would have thought them to beat Calipari at Arkansas with what we have left? Not me.
Let me tell you a little secret. Lots of teams have injuries.
Yeah.
Kentucky's had a bad run, but
Yes.
but now for Kansas, and many are speculating he'll either be 1 or 2 in the draft, and Kansas learned to play without him. And Vandy's second best player didn't play. Okay, so every team has him, and I think Kentucky's had a bad string, but the way it is now, I have a personal thing, and it's not related to every injury, but I think weightlifting can help you and also cause problems. I think it's a big problem in baseball because muscles get so big and so thick. Let's put it this way. When I was a kid, the pulled rib cage, who ever heard of anybody when I was a kid in Major League Baseball getting a pulled rib cage? And you know, you pull a rib cage and sometimes these guys are out for a couple weeks to a month. More than that, there was no such thing when I was a kid because nobody was muscle bound. So lifting has made players, but lifting has also ruined players. The last thing I want to get off the topic, Japanese, the way they train for baseball is much smarter than American. We don't copy it. Yamamoto, if I got the name right, the young man who won all those games for the Dodgers in the World Series, he doesn't lift weights. But if you looked at the workout he does, it's all body. He takes his fingers, like he does one-hand push-ups, right, with fingers, right? And the other thing he does, which I can't fathom it, he takes his fingers and he can hold his body up. You think his hands and wrists are strong?
Wow.
And so I think a lot of the training that's going on, you would think we would copy somebody who does it better. I don't know if America's afraid, more uptight or closed-minded, but some of the things the Japanese do. I'm doing some Japanese things for my health now at 73, and I have found some stuff that's helped me tremendously. And so I'm not saying, look, when Lowe fell, I don't give a crap what you're doing, lifting, not lifting. I was there. That was a horrible fall. And that could have messed anybody up. The Williams thing, it seems like a freak accident, that kind of stuff. But Aberdeen, knowing that he's the point, as long as he doesn't do too much of dribble, which he did 2 games ago, and he was wrong, he knows he's the point and actually helps. Sometimes less is more, but you hate it for these kids getting hurt.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you know, you have to look through the injuries. I'm thinking, was Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen hurt back in the 90s? It seems like I never heard of them ever have an injury. Maybe I'm sure they did, but it's like, it just seems like it's just a run of bad luck. You know, I still fight for Calipari sometimes when people say, man, y'all should have had more than one title in Cal's run. I'm like, yeah, we should. And there was a lot of injuries that I thought derailed us, you know, in some of those big seasons we had. You know, like I said, I will just say Pope deserves a lot of praise for what we fought through. I mean, I will say he's been put on the pedestal and kind of pretty much had rocks thrown at him on some of the stuff I read online. I'm like, you know, we lose one game, we want to fire him. I'm like, I'm not on that at all. You know, winning at Tennessee and winning in Arkansas, man, that was amazing. And wins, 2 wins, we need them the worst. I mean, that beating, I thought for sure the Knoxville game at Tennessee, we had no chance.
I didn't think Kentucky would win in Knoxville either.
No way. And I mean, Chandler, you know, I went to Pope invited me to a practice last year. And out of all the people I saw play, this was before the season started. They just happened to be practicing at Rupp that day. And about all the players I watched that day, Colin Chandler was my favorite person I watched. And this is before the season started. I didn't really know anything about him. I was Googling his name when I was sitting there on the bleachers watching the practice. And to see him, you know, we've had, 4 or 5 games. He's been either made the winning pass or the winning shot or just had the momentum turn his way with a steal for a dunk or whatever. So I mean, I've been a Chandler fan since the season started last year. So to see him kind of break strides and he's a great player, jump, can shoot, and um, so I'm happy for him. So and for Pope, I'm really who knows they can still shock us. I mean, was it the Brandon Knight team that was like an 8 seed that made the Final Four back in right after what 18? When was that? 17, 18?
Years. No, I think it was way before that. But
It could have been, yeah, 14. But yeah, so I do have hope.
I'm bad on years when it comes to that stuff. Yeah, you have hope. You always have hope. It's up and down. It's part of the ride. It's part of life. It's part of loving the program. I'm gonna throw a stat at you, and you tell me if this concerns you. He's going to have to totally rebuild his team next year, more so than I think people realize. Okay, there's be people leaving. There's people leaving for two reasons. It's going to be a huge, huge loss. You can restock this through NIL. You can, and I will never be convinced if Marino and Jasper, let's say, were from the state of California. There's no way on this earth that they would be here now. And so, okay, you had two great players in the state, and he got them both, which is spectacular. Give Bob credit, but he still, as everyone says, has to prove he can recruit some high school talent. According to one recruiting outfit, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to give him credit. I can't remember the name. It's not important. Of the top 50 freshmen, 40 are gone. 40 are gone. And so the amount of, because I do think you should try to bring in a couple talented, very talented freshmen. You could do it with all NIL. There's no question, transfers. You can absolutely do it with transfers. But he's not recruiting great freshmen. J.D. Shelburne, great UK fan. Does that bother you at all that he's not getting great freshmen from outside the state of Kentucky?
I think I take talent over experience. I mean, Cal had a lot of five-star guards, freshman guards. Not every one of them were superstars, but there were a few that were. I like to see that Tyron Stokes kid come to Kentucky. I've YouTubed him. People say he's got an attitude problem. I don't care if the kid can score and be an immediate factor the second he gets here. I'm fine with that. They say he's going to Kansas. Who knows? I mean, if we could get him, just seeing him on YouTube, some of the my gosh, he can just take over a game in any given moment. Can score, can shoot, can jump, and I am a little concerned we can't get players at Kentucky. I mean we're the winningest program of all time. Everywhere we go, most people don't like us. They know our history. We win ball games. We get players. We have tons of success. So everyone that's not a fan wants to see us most of the time lose. So I'm shocked that recruits we just can't get recruits easily. So how are Kansas and these getting them? I know we have money, and so I'm a little concerned we're not getting five-star, but that may be Pope's plan. Maybe he just is more of a portal guy, and that's fine. I mean, there's a lot of great players in the portal. Dalton Connect, who would have thought he went to Tennessee and did what he did? Had never heard of the guy. So I know, and the Yaxel guy in Michigan, wish we could have got him. A few of the guys that were in the portal. So I just want to get back to winning an SEC championship down here where I'm living now, where I can celebrate that and get back to a Final Four. I want to witness a Final Four sometime soon. It's been too long of a drought. And my dad, so my dad, he lives in Taylorsville. I'm in Nashville. We talk at every commercial break on the phone. We analyze, we gripe, we complain, we celebrate.
That's great. That is great.
That's me and my dad's thing. And I had tears in my eyes when we went to Sweet 16 last year. I took my parents, my whole family to Indy. Of course, Tennessee beat us. But it was just fun to be there again, to be in that moment of just know, hey, we got a chance. So I want to get back to a Final Four. So whatever we got to do to get back there, whether that's incoming high school freshman five-star talent, portal players, Pope, just get it done and get us back there. That's all I want.
J.D. Shelburne, give yourself a really good plug before we say goodbye. Something you want to plug with what you're doing, please, because your career is self-made with your talent, but self-pushing. You've done it's a magnificent job for anybody who has a dream and anybody who is not going to take the word no, and anybody that's just going to push themselves and push themselves and push themselves. You're the epitome of that. So what do you want to plug?
I appreciate it. Yeah, man. I started playing guitar at the University of Kentucky in a dorm room up there at Hagen Hall, and never thought I'd get off the farm to play music here. I'm in Nashville 17 years later, doing this for a living. Played over 3,000 shows. I love playing music, love meeting new people. I'm a Kentucky fan. See those on the road all the time. But we also have a new bourbon that's out on the shelves in 60 stores in Kentucky. It's by Inclusion Brand. It's on my web. Everything's on my website, jdshelburne.com. We'll link you to our tour dates. My new album, Raised on the Good Stuff. You guys just played the track Back Road Kind of Love that's on in Texas Roadhouse right now. It's on CMT, and we just love. I built this from the ground up, and we're still building, and grateful for every single person. So check us out, jdshelburne.com. Come see a show, and always go Cats. And appreciate your support through the years, Alan.
Hey, happy to do it. They make the Final Four. Promise me, I don't care how busy you are. You're gonna come do the show. If they get to the Sweet 16, you give me the same thing.
Yes, sir.
I got you booked now.
You got my word too.
That's all I need. I don't need a handshake. And for this contracts, what are you kidding me? Hey, dude, thank you so much. I'm really happy for your success. And you really epitomize the true Kentucky fan. And as much as the kids on the team, and last one, and I'm not saying this to be disrespectful to the kids on the team. I promise you, by the way. But I don't think they understand. I really don't. Understand the veracity. They get it, but they don't get it. They get, oh my gosh, the Kentucky fans are with us all the time. Pope is telling stories, knowing some of that stuff. That's what, but I don't think they truly understand the heart and soul of about 1 million people like you in the state.
They don't understand it. Marino might, Jasper might. But I mean, when we lose a game, I'm mad for 2 days, man. I just want to just get off the grid for a bit and then just come back slowly. But I will say, ever since I put a tweet out that I'd given up on the team, Larry Bald has not stopped hounding me over it. So let's just keep winning so Larry Bald will get off my case. Now, I love you both, man. It's always great to kind of bicker with fans back and forth when we're struggling a little bit. But boy, I tell you what, when we win, it's a happy home for me.
You say the word win and you're just natural. This smile is effervescent on your face.
I know, right? No, if we cut down the nets to win a championship, I may not ever wipe a smile off my face.
Well, there you go. Until the next bad loss the next year, even if they're 5-0 to lose the game you should. I know you.
Yeah, you do.
You see it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. You too, bud.
Thanks. J.D. Shelburne, he's a great Kentucky fan. And Jimmy, it is remarkable. You talk about being a self-made man. Whew. Whew. If you would have told him 20 years ago he's going to get on the Grand Ole Opry, he would have laughed in your face. You think?
That's like the ultimate, the Grand Ole Opry.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's go to clip number 3 in Post Hogs. And give me a little thumbs up when you get it. And I thought Pope's analysis of the 3 technical fouls in 38 seconds was fascinating. Usually I can guess what he's going to say. Didn't in this case. Here it is.
I would like to clean up all 3 of those technicals. I'd like to clean them up. I'd like us to have just a tiny bit more discipline. But what I love about that stretch is the guys' fight and determination. And so even with the 3 techs happening back to back to back, I felt like it was coming from exactly the right place in our team, that we are searching for that core of like fight and like undaunted competitive spirit. And it just overflowed a tiny bit, but we felt right. We felt right. The techs were after like really extraordinarily competitive plays, and so we definitely have to be a little more disciplined. But I actually the gym felt good.
When he said the gym felt good, when Arkansas regained the lead after all those technicals, I thought the game was over, honestly, because they got the crowd going crazy and they were making a comeback. And Arkansas just made one of those comebacks, really nice comeback against Oklahoma. And my thought was, you know what? These kids did a hell of a job. Right. And I was going to say, the world's not ending. These things can happen. But I got to tell you, to get it back together, when the whistle inebriated, Jimmy, tell me if you don't like this word, and I'm doing it on purpose. When the whistle inebriated the fans in Hogland, inebriated them to the highest point they had during that game, and Kentucky's down, and they came back, I got to tell you, that wasn't good. That was spectacular. It was spectacular. Go back to that moment with all the teas happening, and you're upset and that kind of stuff, and then in Arkansas, they take the lead. Didn't you think the game was over? Because, I'm just thinking, oh man, before you know it, this is going to be a 10, 12-point lead by Arkansas. And with as much time left in the game, I don't see Kentucky coming back. You can call me negative. I got no problem with that. But that was a feel as to what the game was going on. And that enhanced the situation tremendously. And to me, that makes this win, it amplifies it tremendously. The crowd was really wanted to get into it. And all of a sudden, boom, they're exploding because of the tease, and they take the lead. And I'm going, uh-oh, this thing could be over. And these kids came back. And I don't think that point has been emphasized enough. And to me, Jimmy, this was a wow.
Yeah, and it's as it was happening, I had the same exact thought where you go, oh, here it goes again. Kentucky's doing what Kentucky's been doing this year. And the excuse is not that you have excuses, but you could already see what the headlines were going to be. You know, Kentucky was great. The refs cost Kentucky this with 3 technicals in 38 seconds. The home crowd got back into it. It was writing itself. And then the different Kentucky team. They had the resolve. They didn't let the crowd get it. Maybe that's what they needed. Whereas at Vandy, there really wasn't much crowd there, so they couldn't feed off any energy. They used that. And to do that on the road, that's huge for these big games late in the year on the road, where you can take that energy and use it as opposed to let it rattle you.
You know what I couldn't tell in the Vandy game? Because I covered that game down there for decades. Most of the time, Vandy wasn't special. And it always amazed me, at least in the beginning, and then I came to expect it, how many Kentucky fans got to that game. Because there were so many fans from Bowling Green. We have people listening in Nashville. We have people listening in Bowling Green. And there were, Jimmy, there'd be huge sections of blue. Huge sections. And when Vandy would get worse, it seemed to be more Kentucky fans find their way in. Because Vandy was good, I was anticipating, and a friend of mine in Nashville told me there'll be fewer Kentucky fans be able to get in because the Vandy people were buying up tickets. I can't tell you the percentage, and I can't tell you how it changed versus the days with Pitino and Cal, where I'm not going to say playing Vandy at Nashville was ever a home game because I don't believe that. But there were times it almost seemed close to a neutral site where Kentucky didn't have the most fans, but they were pretty damn loud. And so I'm assuming from what I was told, and I really couldn't tell from the TV shots, and I didn't go, obviously. I couldn't tell, but it didn't seem like in the old days. For example, when Nazi made that shot that goes around, when he hit that runner that was crazy. I was on the court, by the way. Oh, and the emotion was unbelievable. The yelling and the screaming, even with all the Vandy fans there, it sounded like a Kentucky home game because the joy, boom, was unbelievable because at that moment, he made a shot he's probably never made in his life. He just threw the sucker up, and it went in perfectly. It was unbelievable. So that's been a very comfortable place for Kentucky outside playing in that gym, which is absolutely ridiculous. So I don't know how you look at it, but I'm going, maybe the resolve has changed. Maybe their practice, what they did, which is why we started with Allen Iverson, where they're working up a lather the first part of practice. Hell, whatever the hell works, you know what? You got to keep on trying different things, don't you think?
Yeah, and it's one of those, too, that I'm sure this team has been waiting for a result like this to happen, where they've been putting in the work behind the scenes and all this, and you just haven't seen one go in, to use a basketball metaphor. You just got to see one go in where you have that adversity in the second half. And, granted, they've had second half comebacks, but this one just seemed different where the 3 techs in the second half, Arkansas claws back, and then you actually finish it again. And you're like, okay, let's ride this. Let's keep rolling.
By the way, the rebounding was, when you're +9 in a game, that's pretty damn good. The other thing is, and Jimmy, would you cue up clip number 6? It was crazy. The turnovers for Kentucky, only 7 for them and 5 for Arkansas. That's nuts. And by the way, once again, I'm going to complain about the free throw shooting. Cal complained about their free throw shooting. I mean, they were terrible. 61.5%. That was awful. They were 16 to 26. Well, guess what? As far as I'm concerned, Kentucky also sucked. They were 16 to 25. And so you say, well, the Hogs were also bad. The hell with that. Think about it. They did 64%. You've heard me say a gazillion times the Mendoza line is 75. They do 75%, and guess what? The game's over a little earlier. And I know I've had some people come at me. Goes, you now got me thinking about free throws. I've had 4 or 5 people come at me. So, all right, we were going to play number 6, but Mingion's in the waiting room, so we're going to can that. We're going to switch. Going to talk a little baseball. I can't believe it. I think it's February 13th. Did I look it up? Something like that, where Kentucky plays a real game. Nick Mingione, excited about the season. I'm excited for Nick. Excited that he's joining us. Coming up next, Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment. Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
Hey, I'm Dale Wise. I've just recently retired. I know that the electronics, if you don't keep up with it, it can get away from you and get real confusing. Republic Bank's app, I use their app, and it is so easy to use. I log in with my fingerprint, so it's super easy. I don't have to remember 50 million different passwords and all that stuff. And it lays it out just real nice.
That's Dale's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC. Data rates may apply.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler for the Quantrell Auto Group.
Can you hear me?
People organization who have Cadillacs, Volvos, Subarus. Experience the all-electric and plug-in hybrid power vehicles. We have the VC60, the Volvo. We love it. Best car we've ever had. Dedicated customer service. Helped us big time with financing. A wonderful dealership, the Quantrell Auto Group. They've been terrific for us for well over a decade. I trust the Quantrell Auto Group.
Ooh, baby, it's cold outside.
Uncle Rick, warm yourself up with a hot coffee or cappuccino at Clark's Pub and Shop.
Kappa what?
Cappuccino. And while you're there, be sure to pick up some of our in-store specials. We have assorted Hershey, Reese, Kit Kat, and Payday standard size candy bars, 2 for $3, and Nature Valley granola bars, 2 for $2.
I feel warmer already. Clark's Pub and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
You know, this resume is looking like really sweet now. Really sweet. Shortly, when the season starts, he'll get number 300 wins at Kentucky. SEC Coach of the Year a couple of times. Has won several National Coach of the Years. Made the College World Series a couple years ago. And now, see, here's Nick's problem. I'm smiling, Nick. You've made it so that everybody expects you to go to the NCAA tournament. Just making the NCAA tournament is not good enough. You got to go deep, and this is your fault because you and your kids have done a heck of a job rebuilding this thing. So the pressure is on. You're smiling. You know, I'm kibitzing with you. I'm kidding with you. But it's really a compliment. You all have raised the bar, which is what you want to do. And me as an outsider, I go into the season, well, I know they're going to be good. And if things fall into place, maybe they're going to be really special. But the crowds at home are great. Kids are having a great time. You have revitalized the program, and it's got to be joy. And I'm sure it was just easy. It didn't take any blood, sweat, and work, right?
Well, I appreciate all the kind words, but yeah, it's kind of hard to believe that it's baseball season with all this snow. We've been out 3 days, and I have to rely on my good buddy Coach Madison to see if he's ever been through anything like this. But there's snow on the ground, so we're ready for baseball. But I appreciate your confidence. It's been a fun ride. A lot of really good players, Alan. You know that good players make really good coaches. So,
well, okay, pat yourself, you and your staff on your back. But what have you done to amplify the recruiting? I know you're always looking at people. You're big on people. A lot of coaches are. You're really big on people, but the talent level has obviously increased exponentially, which is a credit to you guys. Is that because you guys are winning? Is that because your pitch is better? Is that because you can get in people's homes? Is that because it's a lot of things? But it's pretty obvious. I mean, I read about these kids, and I'll tell you the truth, Nick. 99% of the kids that you bring in, I read their bios. I don't know who the hell they are. I'm not going to lie to you. I just don't. But then you see what you guys have done year after year, and I just go, I'm sure he's good. Nick recruited him. So you've won me over with your success. Not it's important winning me over, but why have you been able to get better and better talent?
well, I will say this. When most people think about recruiting, for me, I separate it, meaning there's the evaluation process and there's the recruiting process. Those are two different. And a lot of times people combine those. So, for example, once we identify that we have an interest in a recruit based off his skill level, then the actual recruiting process starts. And that's where we're now evaluating them as a person and all that. So, really, for us, our evaluation process has gotten better and better and better. And
Okay.
then once we identify that, hey, look, this is a skill level that we want, and then we talk to them and we go through the recruiting process and we find out that, hey, is this somebody that we think will fit into what we're trying to do? So we've gotten, and I give our staff, our previous recruiting coordinator was Will Coggin. He did an unbelievable job at evaluating. And now Austin Cousineau, one of our greatest players of all time, is our recruiting coordinator, and he's done an awesome job. So, and then, of course, Dan Roselle, our pitching coach, is involved in that. We had a guy by the name of Jake Scott, and now we have a guy by the name of Trevor Fitz, and Coach Sloan has helped. So there's just been an accumulation of some really good evaluators, and then also guys that have done a good job recruiting. So, obviously Kentucky Proud Park helps. Kentucky Proud Park, I mean, it's a beautiful stadium. It's
Sure is.
obviously one that people want to play in. And then obviously the recent success, right? They get to see us on TV and they see us in the postseason. And then obviously the Omaha trip has really helped. So it's been an accumulation of a lot of those things, but I will again take it back to the evaluation process. We've done a really good job of evaluating them, not only as players, but as you mentioned earlier, people.
Even with my big mouth, I'm kind of a simple person. What you're basically saying, when you get the head coaching job, it's one thing, but most special head coaches that I have known or followed for 50 years plus, they've grown with the job. And you either grow or you don't. It seems to me the obvious, and this is no disrespect from the day you got the job. Please, Nick, I'm not saying that, but it sounds like you've grown and learned and developed, and you're probably exponentially, I guess I'm asking you not to be shy now, exponentially a much, 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 much better head coach today than you were when you got your job, which would be normal, by the way.
Yeah, I've definitely grown. And, for me, the first year was an incredible year for us. If you can take you back, and we hosted a regional for the second time in school history. We won that regional, made our first ever super regional in school history. We did something that was never done before. Alan, I was named SEC Coach of the Year. I was named the National Coach of the Year. And that's only by the grace of God, because I had zero head coaching experience at any level. Like Mitch Barnhart hired a guy that, I mean, I was never a T-ball head coach. As a matter of fact, I remember when we were in Starkville coaching at Mississippi State, my wife walked in with a bag of soccer balls one day and she was kind of strutting her stuff. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, just want you to know I'm the head coach of this house. And it was like of an 8U soccer team. And I was just like, man, okay, you're right. I'm just the assistant. I mean, I had zero head coaching experience, and Mitch Barnhart gave us an opportunity of a lifetime. And I've grown from that first year. We were named SEC Coach of the Year and National Coach of the Year, first year ever. And look, Alan, I thought this was easy. I was like, man, this is easy. This is pretty simple. And boy, was I in for a rude awakening. And so I've had to grow. I've had to learn and adapt as a coach, especially through all these times of college athletics. But, one of the areas I've grown the most is in our culture, about how I just spend time on our guys. And I learn that cultures every day. I wasn't working on that every day after the first year. I thought we had it, and boy, was I wrong, and I made a major mistake. So I've grown that way. I've grown in the evaluation process, and really, I've really tried to get who we are, not who we want, in the recruiting process. And I think that's super important, guys that fit into what we're trying to do and what we believe in. So,
oh my gosh, that's a world-class answer. The story about your wife. And you know what? I don't know your wife. I've seen pictures, but I've never talked to her. But I'm visualizing her strutting in. Hey, you and I got a head coaching job before you. Oh my gosh.
Yes. Yeah, that happened. True story.
No, I know it's true. One of the favorite conversations that I have had 4+ years, and Jimmy will testify this and agree too, was with Tyler Bell a couple of weeks ago. Here you got a young man who's going to be drafted, maybe is in the top 5 of the draft. And somebody had told me, or I read somewhere, I don't remember, and all I did was ask him, and he went off, and it was such a beautiful answer. Here you got one of the most talented human beings in the sport in the last 10 years, because the kid is that good. And he made something to the effect, I'm all in baseball. I'm just baseball. I never thought I couldn't make it, whatever. Talked about his mom and dad and how they pushed him and how his mental attitude was set early and stuff like that. And I was told, and I'm trying to remember where I heard it, it's not important, that this kid, your best player, 6 a.m. in the morning, is in the facility working on leads to steal a base. It's literally one of the most beautiful things I have heard doing this, that someone who is so special is paying such attention to what seems like a minute detail, but it might get him 5 more stolen bases. And maybe one of those stolen bases gets you a run, and maybe that's why you win 3-2. Little things, I'm not telling you this, the little things after the big, but you're a best player doing it. And so the other kids on the team, sorry, I don't mean to call them kids, but I'm much older than you, Nick, apologize. But the other kids on the team know that he's doing this. So if they're not piggybacking, and I don't care if it's shame, I don't care if it's because that's what's expected, whether you're not yelling him, you want the kids to do it themselves. That's when you really have a culture in the team, as you know. When I heard he was doing that, I go, this kid is too good to be true. So then we have him on. It's like, he's even better than I thought. This kid is he shuts his phone off at night to get enough sleep. I mean, it won't play video games after 10 o'clock. I'm going, oh my gosh, this kid is almost too good to be true, but I believed every single minute of it. I mean, that was unbelievable.
Yeah, he's special, Alan. He's special. And, what you're referring to is 100% true. I mean, there was time he was beating our staff here. We were having to turn on the field lights for him at 6 o'clock in the morning. And we have a deal where you can turn on the field lights from an app on your phone. So our staff was at home having to turn the lights on for him so he can work on his steal jumps in the outfield. That's 100% true. And so you're right. And as a freshman last year, we really believe in feedback, Alan. We tell our guys that feedback's the breakfast of champions. And last fall, at the end of the fall, we did a peer review. We asked the guys, who's the hardest worker on the team? They voted him as a freshman. He had just gotten there in August. We do this in November. And you know this, sometimes freshmen are easy targets and you can pick on them. The guys voted him the hardest worker on the team as a true freshman. True freshman. So he does. He has a work ethic. And anytime your best player can be your hardest worker, your team has a chance. And that's where we're at. Our best player is our hardest worker.
He also said something where I was wrong, looking from the outside. So I'm looking at this young man, and please correct me if my stats are wrong, but he could have been or was drafted in the 2nd round by Tampa Bay, which is a great organization. So player was 66 or 65 or something like that. And I go on the air, I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I admit I'm wrong. Going, why would any kid turn down that kind of money going to UK and whatever? Well, one of the things I did not know, and I should have, because of his age, he can get drafted a year earlier. So I was thinking a junior, because I do understand the rule, but I know the age rule, but I didn't check his age. My fault. And so he only has to be here 2 years. So you got a 2-year deal, and this works out the way it should. He's actually going to make a lot more money. And my thought is, instead of the buses and Class A or AA ball and peanut butter sandwich, I'm sure he can eat all the steak he wants. I'm sure your travel with the buses is better. I bet your hotels are much, much better. So when he said that, oh my gosh, what a brilliant decision. And then you know what he said, which was great? Calmly, without ego. He said, I'm betting on myself.
That's what he did. That's exactly what he did. He bet on himself. And, obviously we're all in the boat with him and we want it to work out for him. And there's no doubt in our minds it will. But he bet on himself. And when you work that hard and you have that much skill, hard work does not guarantee success. It doesn't. It does guarantee you a chance for success. And that's what he's done. He's worked his butt off in all areas, including his stolen base times and his steal jump times. And so he's a special player and an uber competitive. I know he works hard, but Alan, this guy is competitive now. Like, he don't like to lose and he wants to win. So definitely a guy that we're super proud of and counting on this season.
Burks, your catcher for about the last 12 years, is no longer with you. He moved on and he did something that I ended up doing a whole rant on radio that I loved it. You guys won the game. I was able to sit behind home plate, which was a blessing, instead of up in the press box where you can see things so much better. And he shakes the hand of the home plate umpire at the end of the game. I'm a baseball geek. It's all I ever wanted to do. I had no talent. I wanted to be the play-by-play man for the Yankees. Doing play-by-play is the best thing for baseball. Is the best thing I've ever done. I took a different road. I do it differently, whatever, but I'm not complaining. I've been so lucky and blessed. It's off the chart. He did that, and I got a chill. He looked the umpire in the eye. He shook his hand, and I normally would have turned, when the game was over. And I don't know why we were that close. And I'm going, oh my gosh, this is so classy. It's unbelievable. And the umpire's already decided if he's doing blank, blank kissing because all the talking goes up and back and that kind of stuff. The umpire already knows. He knows I don't know, but that umpire knows. That was such a classy thing to do. It was unbelievable. Did he get that from you? Or is this, which he did, which is fine, but he still did it. If this personifies what your kids are doing, you have to be, as that NBC expression is, proud as a peacock.
Yeah, I wish I could take credit for that one, but I can't take credit for that. That is Devin Burks. I mean, what a special guy. Just texted with him the other day, miss him. I mean, 5 years every day, 5 years. I mean, but he is just a special guy. Obviously, the relationship with the umpire is definitely important. And Devin was as good as any catcher I've ever coached at developing and maintaining relationships with those guys because in a lot of ways, Devin didn't have bad days. And but the relationship piece is important. Hey, here's another one, Alan, that's important. The way the umpire rotation works is after they call the plate in the SEC, then they go to third. Then after they go to third, they go to second, which means the umpire from first goes and does the plate the next day. I make sure our first basemen stay tight with those umpires because they're going to be behind the plate the next day. So I do I do mention that to our first baseman. But Devin, I can guarantee you this: Devin shook that guy and he gave him a firm handshake. That guy's grip strength was as strong as anybody. But with a smile. So great guy. We definitely miss him. But the fact that you noticed that is awesome.
By the way, I'm going to guess if he can hit good enough, he's going to end up in the major leagues. Yes.
Tyler Bell or Devin?
Devin.
Devin stopped playing. He's done playing now. He had some opportunities, but he's married, getting ready to have his first child. He was ready to start life. He's in a good spot.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. He had opportunities to play professional baseball and ended up turning him down. And he's married to his wife, Charisma, and they're getting ready to have their first child next month.
God bless him. But I'm looking at him and I figured he was a lifer. And
yeah.
I mean, he could walk in to be a catching coach for all kinds of teams the way he did it.
Oh, he's special.
Give me we got about 1 minute, and I appreciate your time. I know all of a sudden you're going to be, you're going to be doing a gazillion interviews, and the freshness I appreciate because you're going to be asked a lot of similar questions. Give me one player that I don't. Well, it could be a lot of players I don't know. I've read it, but I don't know. Give me a player that I don't know that's boom everybody's going to know about. Maybe not like Tyler Bell by the end of the year, but somebody else you're saying, hey, Alan, keep your eye on.
Yeah, well, obviously you know all the players that are returning, so I'll skip that. So I will not mention a returning player. But we have an outfielder. His name's Jace Tarnish, who is just uber talented. He can really hit. Alan, he hit over 400 last year at St. Bonaventure, and I don't care what conference you're in. You hit over 400 in Division I baseball, you're a special talent. And so he's a guy who can really run. He stole 37 bases last year, can really hit. He's a special talent.
And the weather shouldn't bother him.
No, that's exactly right. He's like, Coach, I played him worse than this. I'm like, well, I haven't, so I'm glad.
I hope it's not duplicated. Thank you for your time. I know you're going media crazy. I'm good if you can't, but sometime during the season on an off day, I know you don't have off days. If we could squeeze out 10 or 15 minutes, I'd be lucky and blessed. And if you can't, Coach, during the season, I get it.
For you, Alan, I'd be happy to. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and keep doing what you're doing. It's just fun going to the ballpark, and I'll stress that the kids are running around, and they're running around, jumping around, that kind of stuff. The crowd's in it. The crowd is smart. It's a beautiful place. You guys have done a great job. All the best all the best luck in the world, Nick. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Go Cats.
Thank you, Nick Mingione. Jimmy, is that great? Was that a great story about his wife?
Yeah.
Oh my God. And the feeling he had, his wife is strutting in. Hi, guess what? You do this for a living, but I'm the eight-year-old. Yeah, I'm the 8-year-old. coach the soccer team.
He's got to go help her set up cones.
Doesn't that tell you a lot about their relationship, that they're so good that, he's wanted to be a head coach. He's become a head coach. He's a great head coach. There's no question about that, but that's not the point. At the time, he wasn't a head coach. His wife strutting in says, I'm a head coach before you. Oh, I bet he's told that story when he does after dinner speaking. I bet he's told that story 100 times. Wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah, that's a great opening story.
Absolutely. You're talking about getting humbled. How about when your wife humbles you in blank, 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 blank? What a day. Ben Oldham, one of the great college football refs of all time, with his analysis of, without getting into Doug Shows, but how he would handle stuff. Jimmy, I thought that was really special. Chip Rupp is always really good. The soundbite from Rick Barnes about kidding around, regrets he said it, that the passes, some of them were so bad, he's wondering if his kids were betting on the games, was just ridiculously unbelievable. J.D. Shelburne, what a great dude. And is just one of those Kentucky fans. He personifies what Kentucky fans is, and what he's done with his career is absolutely off the chart. I'm a huge fan. His work ethic is off the charts. And Nick Mingione, I mean, you expect from now on, as long as Nick is here, and look, I know nothing, but could I see him coaching here, until he's done? Yeah, actually. Don't know that. Wouldn't ask him that. He wouldn't answer that. But he's really happy here, and he's not a guy, I think, that moves around, and I think it was a great hire by Mitch. You complain about Mitch, and I do that. You got to compliment him when they're good. Don't forget Matthew and Jimmy tomorrow morning at 10. I'll be back at noon. Brad Taylor coming up next. Thank you so much for listening. This will be a heck of a podcast if you missed it, wherever you're listening in the world for podcasts, and wherever you are in the country listening. I have 2 words for you. Thank you.